Hello and welcome to another session of Free from the Yoke. This is a low fantasy game of sort of Slavic mythology history. It's not historical, but it is certainly inspired by the flavor of that. And this is built on the Legacy Life Among the Ruins game engine. We've been playing several sessions. Last time we came out of a Turning of an Age, which meant that 10 years had gone forward. We set a new project for the Arbiter. We did the Arbiter's Court, which went well for some people and less well for others. But don't forget, David, that you still have a take advantage forward because you were willing to take the sacrifice on that roll. So just remember that you have that. My name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this session is part of the Gauntlet Gaming Calendar. This is an online gaming group. We have over 100 sessions each month regularly, and a lot of different games. I think there were 26 different games on the calendar last month. I had Sabine checks the stats for us when we do our meetings, so we look over those numbers. So we are starting with a brief introduction of our characters. And then we're going to move into some things that we talked about at the end of the last session. And we, just for people at home, we are using safety tools as all games on the Gauntlet use. We have lines and veils. Quick reminder, our lines are on childhood abandonment, epidemics, sexual assault, torture, peril to pregnant women, pandemic, a plague, and bodily fluids, scat. And then veils on harm to children, homophobia, sexual content, and slavery. And then ask first for mind control and PC sort of direct betrayal. So with that in mind, let us go through and ask about our characters. I'm going to start this time with Stonia.
Oh yeah, surprise. My name is
David.
I
saw Brian taking a bite, so I was like, okay, I'll do the thing that had the farthest line if I wrap around for Brian.
That makes sense. Yeah, my name's David. I use he, him pronouns. I'm playing the family of the Keepers of the Old Runes. They're kind of the academics, sort of quasi-magical kind of thing. And more specifically, I've been playing Stonia. I added a last name to her as
Ooh.
she's gotten more in station. I think I forgot to say it last time. Runyevna, which is it's technically the daughter of runes, as she's taken it upon herself. That name, at least, or title, perhaps, who knows? But she is she was kind of questioning authority very hard during the last age, and in this one, she's continues to, but has been kind of shuffled off to the outskirts of the keepers, even though she's kind of gotten a little bit of a maybe fame or infamy among them.
And has moved to be both an outsider and a vagabond. So truly began to move at the edges of her family. Let's come next to Samat.
Yeah, I'm Scott, and I use he, him pronouns, and I'm playing currently Samat. Also he, him pronouns. Samat is from the Horse Lords of the Steppe. And while we say the Steppe, we mostly no longer have the Steppe, as we've sacrificed our lands for the common good, or what we saw as the common good. So we're currently seeking out lands, as well as the other needs that we have as a clan.
Excellent. And you're a Bogatyr now, a more military foe, and a champion. And what foe is it that you've sworn to confront?
The Drake or dragon that lives in, I was just reviewing the map before this, in the Borderland ruins to the south. So not far from the Valley of the Mist, but I forsook my quest in order to follow the not directives, but the task set to me by the Arbiter.
Mm-hmm.
So I put that aside temporarily.
Excellent. And then let's come to Carevold.
Yeah, so my name is Sam Zimmerman. I use he, him pronouns. And today I will be playing Carevold, who is the old, kind of grizzled shipwright from the cult of the Kraken. Carevold is a lore master, an old sage, as much as a bunch of pirates and shipbuilders have sages. He's the one who remembers the old ways, and people will actually listen to him when he gives advice. That's about the extent of his power. But he is currently on a sort of self-appointed, sort of, everybody just kind of said, yeah, you go deal with that thing, quest to investigate why the ocean rune is breaking down or changing. As well as gather some allies and convince his fellow captains that they should be on the right side of this war.
Captains who suffered a grievous loss last time at the hands of the Kingdom of Drago.
That they did.
And then that brings us, last but not least, to Ziv.
I'm Brian, he, him, and I am playing Ziv, they, them, the ambassador for the envoys of the Umot Alliance. The Umot Alliance is a coalition of nations that would be much more powerful if they weren't always squabbling among each other. But the envoys here are, looking out for the interest of that foreign coalition instead of the actual people of this particular land. And yeah, specifically Ziv has been told this time around the Arbiter's project is we'd prefer that to fail than succeed. So that will be interesting.
Absolutely. So I think what we're going to start is the gathering of the court has broken up. We are at the sort of the end days. Those with furthest to travel have taken off, but you're still there in First Throne. So it is still, the largest urban center in the land. And Carevold, you sought an audience with Ziv. Ziv, a request has been made. How would you frame this meeting? Would you have Carevold come to your tent, or would you meet in a more neutral place? What do you think?
I don't know exactly the purpose, so fairly neutral.
Okay, so some sort of you pay a local tavern owner some coin to give you some space and to meet there in a relatively public venue. And Carevold, what is your body language when you arrive at this meeting?
Carevold is more than happy to meet in a tavern. He was kind of expecting to be shuffled off to some noble's headquarters or like some back rooms, and no, this is much more to his liking. So Carevold is confident and probably comes over with a second round of drinks.
A big table. There are probably some of the retinue around, but the two of you are mostly left to speak. People are kept at a distance so they can't overhear what you have to say. Now, is there what's the connection between you and Ziv? Do you have any backstory between the two of you?
I have that. I don't understand how Ziv can spend so much time away from home.
And Ziv, when do you think the last time you met with Caravold was? Fairly recently, or years, or what do you think?
I think it's probably been a while. Yeah, if there's anything that Ziv doesn't pay enough attention to, it's like lore and that kind of thing. So the lore master, I think, wouldn't have gotten Ziv's attention necessarily, because they're just
low on the priority list.
Yeah, I mean, it's important and it's very interesting, but like there's so many other things to focus on that it just, yeah, it's not something Ziv ever has made time for.
Yeah, I love it.
So Caravold, you're the one who called the meeting. How do
Yeah.
you want to open this?
I think Caravold strides up confidently to this table, lets out a grin that's missing a couple of front teeth, and puts the tankard down in front of Ziv and slides into a seat across from you. Well, old friend, it's been a while. I'm surprised you were interested in meeting in such a dingy place by your standards, but don't complain.
Well, luxuries can be enjoyed, but there are enjoyments to be had in a place such as this as well.
I'll drink that, and I raise the tankard and take a big old swig from this tankard. So, you know that you and I are not close acquaintances, but I did want to ask you here today on business, and I know that you are more than amenable to talking business.
Of course.
This war is going to be expensive, going to be costly for a lot of people. It will require cargo, it will require movement of troops, it will require sacrifices to be made. And we are willing to negotiate on some of those burdens, if you will, since I know that the cities of Umat will be far out of their way to transport any amount of troops or supplies or anything like that. It's going to be very difficult to show your aid in this war without a easy means of transport. And that is exactly what I am offering.
Interesting.
I will say, if Caravold, is this a friendly conversation, or are you kind of putting a little pressure here, because there is a character move for the find common ground if you want to go to the move, but if you're just putting things out there more hypothetically and want to see how Ziv responds, I don't want to necessarily move to that unless you feel like it. What do you think?
I think that this is like I think eventually we can get to find common ground, but
Okay.
I'm interested to play this out a little bit.
Yeah, let's play that out then.
Okay. Yeah, I think Ziv is very much in this position where I'm going to be just speaking out loud of what mental calculations are going on a lot. The Umut Alliance does not have any intentions of like sending troops to get involved in this battle.
And that's why I don't think find common ground is the most useful thing to do right away.
Ziv, if anything, would be interested in taking. I mean, right? You have a surplus of fleets, basically, and if those can get like what's the word? Occupied by Umot and envoy work instead of the war effort, Ziv would take an opportunity to do that.
I love that. I will also put on the table, I know we have an ask first on PC betrayal. I'm going to straight out and say you do not have to ask first with me because I specifically have a move that triggers when you betray me. So I would like to use that fairly often. So I love this double dealing kind of take on this.
Yeah, that's exciting. What would I have to do to instead of war? Okay, sure. So I guess I mean the reputation of your fleet is well known. It's the offer of its services is of course quite interesting to us. What would you be seeking in exchange?
Me? I don't seek anything. Captains will, of course, for payment. Many times captains are more than willing to take on conscripts instead of coins, especially in times such as these.
Wondering if Ziv would try to find common ground move.
Yeah, I think this is a good point for that, where we're trying to get into the nitty gritty of this. I'm happy to roll it if you like, since I am kind of putting this offer on the table.
Yeah, either way, I think it can make sense. So
let's start one direction, and it may be that ends up going to another. But let's start with that way. So, Careful, let's have you roll cunning.
That is a 9.
Okay. So
on a 9, their player picks 2 of the conditions, and both must be met. So this is where we'll agree. Do you have that list?
yeah, it's under character moves. Yeah.
I am looking at the PDF.
Oh,
which is a lot harder to read than the character keeper. I should swap over.
So I guess what is it exactly you?
So the thing that I'm asking for is basically give our fleet work in the context that this war will have lots of work for a transport fleet to do. And so I'm basically asking you to use our ships instead of whatever other transport you had planned.
Okay. I guess it would be like they can add or remove specific things to the task would be the that we're able, if we're hiring your fleet, we're, that they'll, because if knows they're not going to be used to transport what you think. But,
Right. So
sure, we'll hire them, but like then they're in our employ and they'll be put to the purpose we want.
that seems like a fair thing, that it may not, the purpose may not be for the war.
Yeah, I mean, Ziv would be not saying that explicitly if. But I imagine you might kind of work out that that's what they're getting at.
Okay.
They can back out as soon as. Well, I guess, and we get influence on your house. I mean, that's always.
I think that makes sense. I think the influence of you are our patrons at this point.
That seems fair, and while it doesn't exactly come across as perhaps you expected, Carol, you do get some form of a promise.
And I think we'll have to figure out what the payment will be if well, I guess we'll figure that out.
Yeah, I think we'll figure that out once we start trying to actually use those.
That seems fair. But that agreement is in the air. Let me move on to Stonia. What are you doing immediately after this meeting with the Arbiter and the Arbiter's people and this call to war and all of these things and all of these wonderful stories that you've heard and rumors and things? What are you doing?
Yeah. One thing I want to do is would it be safe to assume I've spent like a day or more in the city?
Yeah.
The first, was it first throne? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was hoping to try and go off one of the vagabond moves here, where each day I spend in a let's see, let me read it. After it's view from below. After a taste of life in a settlement, you learn the true shape of its society. Each day you can ask the GM one of the questions from this list. I really just want to ask who wields the real power and kind of just kind of find out who they are and maybe pick their ear. Or
yeah. So let me give that to you, and then you can see how you want to. One of the things is First Throne has become a very much an urban center. It has grown, the growth of the aqueduct there, but it has not become the center of governance for the nation. The Arbiter and the Arbiter's troops continue to move from place to place. They are in First Throne from time to time, for months at a time, perhaps even to winter there. But they spread their influence around, and they move the troops to kind of keep authority around. So what has grown up in the last 10 years is a stronger local sense of identity for First Throne, and there is a leader there named Darja, and they are a former sort of, I don't want to say former, for what might call a general in the Arbiter's forces, who, after being wounded, they settled in First Throne, and they become a political figure who sort of agitates for independence, or at least independence of decision making, more than anything else. And while they don't have an official role, people go and talk to them when they want things done, or they want approval for things. So that is who that is. So do you think you know them?
Interesting. Yeah, maybe I know of them, but maybe maybe one of their siblings or something, or like a child even, went to the keepers to be educated or something.
All right. And so you've met them in passing. How would you gain a meeting with them?
Yeah, great question. I think she tries to do as many unofficial things as possible. So she might just try to get word to is it a man?
Woman.
A woman. Okay. Try to get some kind of note even or something to her, I don't know, aides or something. Of just like, oh, you know what? I would love to buy you a drink or something like that.
That seems like a fair way to do that. And I think that, let me just check, make sure there's house moves, things like that.
Oh, actually, I didn't think I kind of maybe accidentally used this, but the other move she has is call on hospitality when I go into somebody's home.
Oh yeah,
I didn't realize that I was setting that up.
Well, no, I think that's what you can do. I mean, you go around and you arrive, and Darja's family has connections to the keepers of the runes, and so when someone of your stripe arrives, they set a table for them, provide hospitality, and eventually Darja comes down to see you. Clearly, she's expecting to just give the kind of the hospitable welcome and things like that, and so perhaps is a little bit surprised when she sees you and says, "We have met before."
She said, "We have or haven't?"
We have.
Oh,
we have. Yes.
Yeah, of course. I would never forget you.
Well, of course not. But I mean, many of you're most unusual amongst your people. I do not forget a face such as that. What is it that brings you here? We're here for the gathering, to bend knee to the arbiter.
Oh well, I was more of a witness. I'm not really here in an official capacity per se. But yeah, while I was here, I wanted to see, things have changed so much since I've been here. I hear it's mostly because of you.
No. I am merely a retired soldier. Sometimes people come to me for advice. Sometimes I give it to them, and even sometimes they listen to what I have to say. I would not want to appear greater than I am.
Oh, of course not. And those all sound like great qualities. Again, if someone could listen to me, that would be great.
So I take it this meeting is not a simple accident, but you have a purpose here. Was it Stonia, right?
Yeah, that's me, of course.
And she settles herself down and like gestures for more food and drink to be brought out. And she sits across from you. So why have you come here, little scholar?
Well, yeah, I think you just said it. I'm mostly here to study, and this is one of the more important, parts of the nation. And I've been noticing some dangerous things, and I'm hoping, since no one else would know more than you here, maybe you could, I don't know, help me look for something.
What is it you're looking for?
Well, that's a harder question to answer. It's things that maybe go without explanation or reason. Things that that just defy any kind of study or scholarly work that's been done before. I've noticed it in a few areas, and I worry it might be, in more than what I've noticed so far.
Let me say something, and maybe this will help.
Of course.
I am a simple soldier. So one of two things are happening here. Either you are asking me an abstract question of philosophy and natural science, in which case I have no answer for you. Or you are being oblique deliberately and have another purpose, in which case I would ask you to speak more plainly.
Yeah, and I think she does the. I think I described her like a nervous habit of like just touching her face tattoos, and she's like, that it is difficult to explain, but it's supernatural things with the runes that I'm charged with keeping specifically, and something seems odd about some of them, and I worry that it might be affecting this area too.
That's right. You're the shield maker, aren't you?
Well, again, one of many, I suppose, but
but your name came up then when you shielded the aqueduct, when you gave the water that has given the city its life. So I certainly owe you for that. What do I know? I know that in the South, ghosts ride on horseback at night in the darkness. I know that the boats of Drago go out into the waters, bearing people upon them, and come back with fewer than they had. I know that my spies tell me that what happened to the Kraken ships was not purely natural, but was called up by one that they have there, a sorcerer, old, deathless sorcerer. Is that what you are asking about?
Yeah, and I think she was just like maybe once she started, she opened her like little sketchbook and was just like furiously jotting this down. She's like, actually, absolutely, yes. This there's very mysterious things happening in our lifetimes already, and it seems more are coming.
May I ask you a question?
Of course.
Where do the keepers stand in this war? Do they support the call?
I think she maybe she tries to hide, probably poorly, like how frustrated she looks, and she's like, no, the elders have their priorities. I'm not I don't know, I guess privy to their long-term plans, but I just know that they're not focused on what's important right now.
And what is important right now, Stonia, the keeper of the old runes?
Wow. And maybe she like leans in closer, so she's more conspiratorially speaking, and she's like, well, I would never say, but I've been charged, like I said, with keeping these runes, and it sometimes, especially recently, it seems like I'm the only one trying to do that.
When you tire of being unrecognized among your people, come and see me. You'll have a place in my household.
And I think she's she I think she tries to hide that she's like, yeah, awesome, but she's also like, and the same goes for you. If there's any more of these strange mysteries that no one can solve, please tell me, maybe before the elders even.
I will certainly take that under advisement.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good place for us to cut. Samat, what is it that you are doing? You know, there is a mystery that lies there at this Valley of the Mist. What is your tactic here?
We are going to scout it out to see how it can be used as the future defenses in the war with Drago. So I will be leading a contingent on horseback to go in, and this could be a chance for people to make quick characters if they want, or if they think that their character would be interested, or if somebody wants to play the Arbiter's Champion.
Yeah, so this is a mechanic we haven't yet really engaged with. We're going to zoom in on this valley. Samat's going to lead an expedition. Now, each of you has a choice. You could say that your character would also be going along on the expedition. We can justify that however you wish. Or you can make a quick character. That quick character would be from the Horse Lords. And you can find the little template for doing quick characters at the bottom of the character page. Starts from row 52 on. I'll talk a little bit about what that involves. The other option is, if someone wants to, they can play the Arbiter's Agent. We don't know what their role is yet, so they can define that, and essentially then that character becomes somebody that is in play. So let me come back to you, Sam. Do you have any thoughts about what you would like to think? Is this something Caravel would like to go on to, or do you want to make a quick character, or do the Arbiter's Agent?
I think Caravel has other priorities right now. I'm interested in this quick character idea.
Okay. So let me grab my little thing here. So for quick characters, you'll grab that first one that's like essentially A52. And let me grab my little notes here. Of course, I've set my book far away from me. So I'm looking what did I do with that. One moment.
Scott, while he's doing that, can you go over the setup again? I was scrolling down notes while you were describing it. Oh, I think you're on mute.
I am on mute. Now I'm off. Okay. So we're heading into, so the setup was the, one of the needs for the project, which is the war, is defenses. So I keyed on looking for defenses in the Valley of Mist, where there's already some kind of mystery, and so was going to lead, a small band there to discover the mystery, scout out to see if there are usable defenses that can then be given to towards the Arbiter's goal of this war with Drago.
Let me
So
check you.
the ultimate goal is fulfilling a need of the project.
So let me check in. Ziv, would you be going along, or do you want to do a quick character, or do you want to do the Arbiter's agent?
Don't think Ziv would be going along, so
Okay.
I'm okay with the agent or a quick character, I guess.
And Stonia, would you be traveling along on this expedition?
That's super interesting because I feel she would kind of be into this, although
Okay.
I am also tempted to be oh, what if there's just another like keeper here, like a much more like traditional one that goes along, so I can kind of contrast perhaps.
That's interesting. Usually when we do that, we have the quick characters are drawn from the house of the person who's sort of the center point of the expedition.
Okay. Yeah, maybe if you're okay with it, Scott, maybe Stonia would go then.
That's great.
Okay, cool.
I thought that Stonia or Kervold were good fits, but I didn't want to lead anybody how they felt. So
yeah, sounds good to me.
So let me talk about quick characters then. So our house is the horse house. Trying to take that real quick. The horse lords, and that is so. For the quick characters, you will get a +1, a -1, and 2 zeros to assign to stats. And then because this is a horse lord, Sam, Brian, you can assign a +1 to either might or bravery. And you can figure out what your relationship is to Samat. That's an easy pick to make. Uncle, child, friend, however you want to define that. And you will pick one of 4 roles. If you're a leader, then you can train a group for a few days and then spend that to spend that hold to do things with them. If you're a champion, you have a narrow field that you're an expert in, that you get advantage in. If you're a rogue, then when you break the law of your house or the arbiter, you get to roll cunning to try and avoid repercussions. Or you're an outsider. In that case, you'll pick a stat, and if you want to roll that stat with advantage later, you'll mark a flesh wound. So those are sort of the four picks for that.
So thematically, I was thinking rogue, but the move doesn't fit the character at all. I'm thinking more along the lines of maybe like a scout type thing.
Yeah, champion would be a good one for that.
Okay.
Yeah, just because that's when you use your skills, you get to reveal a secret and gain fleeting advantage on it. And also when you die, you reveal your mission's final steps, and the party can do it to complete the task.
Is there somewhere in the PDF or the character that
Let me
written down
see.
so I can copy it?
Yeah, let me see if I've got it in the character stuff. I thought I did something here. It is. Let me find it in the PDF. I am learning a thing I should have cut and pasted into this thing. Come on.
I'm looking at pages 33 and 34 on the PDF.
Yep.
That looks right.
Let's see. Guardians of History. Where is no. Why is this? Quick character. Page 27. Here, I'm going to copy. Oh, you are going to let me copy this, right? There we go. Come on. Here is the text for that. The double zeros is essentially the paragraph marker there. It should be in the chat. So Ziv, what would you, for your quick character, what kind of role are you thinking?
I think I'll go with leader.
Okay. So that'll give you a chance to train up some of your folks. So what I'm
The
going to,
index for the book is so maddening.
it is a little maddening.
Quick characters is under zoom in, not under characters. Ugh.
There's some choices that have been made in the design and presentation of information in this book. But honestly, it's a fall down on my part because I should have had the quick character things to look up there. Let's do this. Let's take a 10-minute break. When we come back, we'll start sort of in medias res with that situation, kind of get names in place and get rolling with that. Seem cool?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, let's take 10.
No, it's going to do this thing where it doesn't actually.
Oh,
Oh, come on.
Patrick gets that sometimes. He has that thing that he uses that generates special effects on the thing, and sometimes the camera gets locked for Zoom.
I just use it because the auto white balance on my camera makes me look like I'm constantly sunburned. Give me 1 second. I'm here. I'll just be off camera for a
Sure.
second.
So I did take that and put it sort of on the saga tab at the bottom of that first column, just because it was a place I could put it, and I'll get a better place to put it later, but those are there.
Trying out this background magic since half my room behind me was unpacked anyway.
Oh, that's a gorgeous background.
This is apparently it's a famous library in Prague. Try to keep on theme.
Daryl has a beautiful apartment such that the first time he put it up, I was like, oh, that's a really nice background. He goes, that's my apartment. And I was like, ooh. I was very impressed.
Oh, I don't think I told you folks, but a few weeks ago at this point, I think I had a job interview that was through Zoom.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'd forgotten to change my names around. So like, David, I'm like, oh yeah, hold on, let me switch that over. But it was like the long, like Sonia, keeper of the runes. I'm like, oops.
So the Zoom client used to let you switch between your managed work account and your personal accounts, which was good because I'm the admin for like my institute at NIH. So I'm the admin user. So, but now it doesn't. I can't switch to my personal one, but I can only do backgrounds on my work computer. So I don't like to use my work computer for personal stuff because it's provided by the U.S. government. Well, frankly, so and I'm a taxpayer too. So by me, I jumped into a meeting and it was with the executive officer of our institute, and it was Samat, he, him, Scott, he, him. Like, well, let me change that pretty quick. I don't know how that got there.
The Will H works for the BBC, and he can't change any of his settings on Zoom. Like they are locked at the high level. All right, so let's hear Sam, tell us about your quick character. Who are you? What do you think your relation to Samat is?
Yeah, so I have put together Liska, she, her. She has a feminine presentation. She has a trusting face, but calculating eyes, where she will make you think that she is definitely going along with whatever you're saying, but the wheels are going behind her head. She is kind of a scout. She is more of an outrider almost in this horse lord community, I guess is the right word. Mm-hmm. And I had that she is potentially one of Samat's cousins.
Okay. And then Brian, who are you playing?
I am playing Lubos, he, him, masculine, scowling face, squinting eyes, and bony body. And yeah, I mean, if I get to play someone from the House Horse Lords, I wanted someone very involved with horses. So he's some kind of horse master, in charge of overseeing use of the horses. That's my thought. And which I guess counts as a leadership role.
Excellent.
Leader. And yeah, the relationship, That I don't know. What would make the most sense?
Are you a peer? Are you a mentor? Are you in the household of?
I guess just a peer.
Okay, so
That makes
someone
sense.
of Samat's age who's taken a different role. Okay, that makes sense to me. Now, what we do when we go to the zoom in is we'll do the prepare and provision move. Basically, when your house outfits your character, they can access special tools based on their circumstances. You'll get everything that you have as assets for your house, Scott. And then how many surpluses does your family have?
We currently have surpluses. Oops, looking at the wrong. We have 2 surpluses.
2 pluses. So you can take 2 of those benefits, gain a new piece of gear with 1 tag, add a tag to one of your pieces of gear, get as many copies of a weapon, outfit, or transport as needed to outfit the whole party. So what are your assets that you have?
And if you take a bow, just so everybody knows, it automatically is weapon, far, elegant, silent. And you'll know how to shoot it from horseback.
So so you've got the mounts. You are, I assume you're taking followers with you. And then are you taking one of your picks to outfit everybody with bows?
I think so, yeah. So
Okay.
that whatever this danger is,
Okay.
we can engage it from afar.
And you've got one more pick then, 'cause that's just one of the picks.
Which one am I missing here?
Oh, so because you got 2 surpluses,
Oh, yeah.
one of them you use to outfit everybody with a bow. And then you can use the other surplus if you want to tag that for something else, or you can just leave it for the time being. Like if you want to add another tag to your bow, for example. Like maybe you have a magic bow.
Actually, we have to go look at the tags.
Okay, yeah.
'Cause they change setting to setting.
Yeah, that's all. It's under outfits. The same thing will happen for you, Stonia. You will get essentially
Oh, weird.
your assets that your house gives you, and then how many surpluses does your house have, Stonia?
Let's see. Is that assets minus the needs or
No,
sorry,
your
surpluses?
surplus. It's just straight surpluses.
Oh wow. Yeah, she has 5
Okay.
in the house. Yeah.
Yeah. So so you can get a bunch of tags or things like that, however you want to get. What are your starting assets? Let's look at those just to kind of get the sense of that.
Yeah, that's the gear, right? The gear.
That is the assets that's listed on your house. So
Oh, gotcha.
So are you taking a group of philosophers with you?
No.
Okay.
I was like, it would be smart. Any other keeper probably would, but she won't.
Yep. You have a word of power recorded by the ancestors there. And you have this utility outfit, subtle. Now, let me tell you, let me make a suggestion to you. You could add a tag to your outfit, like tough, which would give you 1 armor against harm.
Seems like a good idea.
This is a strong maneuver. I don't want to spend too much time going through all these assets. We'll kind of go to them when play, but this is one of the things that you do when you zoom in is check on those. So overland travel from the grounds in the south that the horse riders are moving between because they've lost the steps. And Samat, you've made arrangements to meet with Stonia, and Stonia, you arrive. Samat is there. A couple of people who are clearly more senior people, someone who is introduced as Samat's cousin, and then a more maybe horsekeeper taciturn, maybe a wiry figure, and then these horse riders that accompany Samat. And it's a couple days travel to the Valley of the Mist. You are heading south. So one of the things is that there are a lot of trails and tracks where horses have been back and forth. So there are some muddied roads and things, but eventually you have to go off the beaten path into kind of the taiga here, brush and cold, and the winds going across towards the Valley of the Mist. Tell me, Scott, what is the strangeness that you see that tells you you're getting close to the valley when you're a few miles away?
So all trees just stop growing at a certain point. It's not even a tapering off. It's not like it would be in the the tundra. It's just normal, growth and whatever, and some trees here and there because we're in taiga, and then nothing, no trees, just ground covers.
And as you approach, as the wind carries the air from the Valley of the Mists, and the mist starts to kind of come over here, Sam, what is the smell that you're like, that's not what I would have expected?
Yeah, I think it's a almost a metallic smell, like the smell that you get after like the taste of blood in your mouth, almost that irony, like harsh taste that is really off-putting.
Yeah, and it hangs, and as you ride along, you realize that this smell, you know how when you're around a smell that you can tell is going to stay with you, like cigarette smoke or something like that, you can tell that it's like getting in your clothing. And then Brian, what is the sound that is carried on the wind from the valley?
I think it's like an insect hum.
Yeah, kind of a buzzing that sort of carried on that. It gets in your ear, sort of like a susurrus kind of back behind. And as you were riding along, as you were approaching this, what is the sense that you have of the magic in this area, Stonia?
Oh, interesting. I think Sonia and maybe the audience and maybe some others too, like these like myths that we're going through. It's weird because they keep it looks almost like in your peripheral vision, it looks like they're moving in a certain particular way. It's like, is that like a specific pattern? Is it like a person? And you look and it's not, or it's like Sonia might think, is that a rune of something? And she looks and it's not.
Yeah,
Like something's weird's going on.
Yeah, the mist definitely is moving in some way, and you will come to the edge of what is clearly a cliff, and you can see around you. You see the cliff's edge, and you see that valley down below where you've seen the cloud top over the valley. And you have a couple of choices. You could try and descend along a cliff path here. You could try to climb down with ropes, or you could try to maneuver around through this fog to find maybe a real sloping path downwards. What do you think, Samat? You could send your riders out to scout for it.
I think so. I think let me get the name right, because it was actually a really, really cool name. So I want to use it. Liska. I asked Liska to scout ahead.
All right, then, Liska. I think I want you to. We'll do this as a kind of an unearthed forgotten lore here. I think we're going to do a kind of modified version of that, and I think you get to tell us kind of a secret that you know about scouting and get advantage, right?
Yeah, I think this is kind of a coordinated effort between Liska and one or two other scouts. We've done this before. We know the kind of the search patterns to keep ourselves hidden, and we can actually kind of be out of step. So when you're hearing a noise from one side, the other person is actually moving. And so you're always looking the wrong way. Anybody who's trying to like watch for scouts would always be looking the wrong way, depending on where the sound is coming from.
Mm-hmm. So let's have you roll with lore.
I get advantage on that, which is good because my lore is -1. That is a 5, a 6, and a 2. So the 5 and the 6 is 11, -1 is a 10.
So one of the questions is, can you find a route down? And I think that you will find, and it's pretty well hidden, but there is a pathway that looks like it was built a long time ago, and it has somewhat decayed, but it has a path downwards. I'll let you ask another question.
The other question I'm going to ask is, what dangers is it hiding?
I think that you will note as you are kind of looking at this path and so on, you're not seeing hoof prints or footprints here, but you are seeing scrapes and marks along the wall that look like bird claws, like big bird claws, that you suspect there is some sort of avian creature that might if alerted, come in and swoop in onto people coming down this path.
Wonderful. And yeah, I think I'm going back to the main host with that information.
Tell me, Luvos, what has been your demeanor, your attitude on this journey? You excited to do this? Nervous to do this? Is this just another day in the life of a horse master?
Excited is not the right word. Yeah, I mean, glad to be of use, not necessarily thrilled to be going into mysterious fog valleys. Yeah.
I think that's I think that's a fair assessment. So Samat, Stonia, Luvos, Liska returns with this information.
I have another sneeze coming, so other people can speak now first if they want to.
I think this is a kind of a somber return. I don't think that this is necessarily like the usual like head held high, like, oh yeah, there's no problems. We can forge ahead without worry that you usually get from the scouts. I think this is like a hushed and almost like secretive pull back into camp. And Liska, is Samat actually like leading this expedition, or is somebody else leading the expedition?
Yeah, Samad would be the head of it.
And I think Liska kind of rides up to you and dismounts to walk right up to you and get close before saying, we found a path, but something lurks there. Some great bird with terrible claws that has ripped into the very stones. We should find it. We should find a safer way. This is not the way.
How much longer would it take to find another way?
The size of this thing, I could see it roaming for miles. But I strongly suggest another route.
Stonia, do you have tales of large winged creatures?
Yeah. Would she? Is there a way for me to figure that out? Oh, I think you're muted. Oh.
Yeah, let's have you do Unearth Forgotten Lore.
Yeah,
kind of run that. I'm going to give you some basic info, and then we'll let you kind of do some follow-ups depending on what you roll, unless you roll a fail.
Don't Scott it.
In which case we'll hear caw.
Let's see.
Be like that rock, the rock from the deep cartoon.
A 9 total.
A 9. So it's interesting they said a rock, because that is the name of these giant winged creatures. They're very legendary. The thing that strikes you is it's unusual for them to be in a valley because they're mountaintop creatures. So this seems very odd to you. So what we want to ask as a follow-up, either from our Unearthed Forgotten Lore or some kind of additional question?
Oh my. Hmm. These are all pretty interesting. I think whose ancestors are most tied to it might be the most interesting. Like perhaps
There,
Mhm.
you will suddenly remember something.
Yeah.
You remember about a very old story amongst the Keeper of the Runes about a keeper who people might call a magician or a wizard or a sorcerer generations ago by the name of Tavis, who is said to have made simulacra of these sort of great beasts, and that that they were put as guardians of places, and this might be like a sort of a metal rock, a creature, a construct, a simulacrum. Probably not nearly as large as an actual rock, but that's what this thing probably is.
Oh, that's fascinating. I think she describes that as like this almost like campfire type story. It's like, but
Yeah,
that's all fantasy. It's not actually in textbooks. That's just things we tell each other. Surely that can't be real.
And Liska points at Stonia. I am definitely suggesting we find another way. That sounds awful.
Although, if it were real, then they must be guarding something pretty important.
don't the machines of men break down over time? Could these talon gouges have been older, Liska? Or were they
Well,
recent?
did it look like they were?
They looked more recent. The thing that strikes you is there are no tracks along that, yet there are these marks of this thing kind of coming up and like going after something, and looks more recent. So that's very strange.
Yes. So there are recent marks of this thing's activity. It is most unwise. I don't know what you're seeking, but if we're here for defenses, then I think we have found our defenses, and we should go somewhere else to look for other defenses in a different location.
Doina, would this rock, as you call it, if it existed, would you be able to control it for the Arbiter?
Oh, it depends on what sort of mechanism was powering it. It would be, yeah, I would have to see it. It'd be very hard to determine. I mean, another keeper was able to, but he did such strange things that people called him a wizard or something. It's again a lot of myth around them.
Well, I'll
I-
tell you the truth. We call a lot of you keepers wizards around the campfires for the stories that we hear of you, not necessarily the ones that are true.
I think she like trails off. Well, that doesn't make any sense because the runes are obviously just a natural phenomenon.
Can I time out for 2 seconds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to say Sam is very interested in going after this and figuring out what's going on. Liska is horrified.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Fortune favors the bold, and this. Let me go to our project. So the needs for the project are. Oh, we didn't actually change it. It still says a grand construction.
I think I changed the needs though.
Yeah, the needs are changed. Well, I still think this, it may not be defenses, but I mean, maybe it will. I think this is a weapon for the Arbiter. I think we pursue it. I think we find it, we subdue it.
So I
And
see.
I have
yeah.
full faith in those with me to do this.
So I see a couple of ways to handle this as we kind of roll into this. Stonia could try to enact a ritual to moderate this. You could try and get past, which would be essentially the disarm move, or you could wait and challenge it in combat and fiercely fight it to drive it off. Or you could send your scouts in to do it and you'd roll that. We see what happens.
Let's leave it open for the council. You all are trusted advisors in this endeavor.
And I think Sonia has, she might have a suggestion. She says, well, possibly if you know, if it was truly a keeper that made this, then there has to be some sort of runes, even if minor, that are, you know, controlling it, especially if it's guarding something. If I could get a hold of it, I could alter the rune possibly to make it guard something else of our choosing. That's a possibility. She says, just like making stuff up, basically.
So would it be fair to assume then that we lead a distraction while you do that to keep you safe?
You're suggesting putting the life of this outsider ahead of the lives of your people.
I suggest no such thing. The Arbiter has tasked us with aiding in the war effort. The Horse Lords have always come to the raised to the task set before us by the Arbiter, and it has had costs to us. We have lost our lands. We may lose more brave warriors. We may lose more brave scouts. But the gain for us is lands of our own again. And those are gains I'm willing to fight for here. I'm willing to put my life ahead of yours.
I think that is that last bit like almost like a ritual phrase.
I think it's very earnestly said, and as earnest, you know, I've never played Samat as like a taciturn kind of a horse lord, so you know it's said with passion, you know, and not anger but passion.
Yeah, I think that Liska grits her teeth a little bit, but knows that once you've set your mind to something, then
And
You've just been asked to be a distraction. We haven't been told we're being fed to the beast.
well, indeed not. We are the swiftest riders there are. It's incomprehensible to me that any bird made of man could catch more than one of us, if even one. While Stonia does whatever it is. I don't quite understand it, but
I think Estonia tries to be helpful and says, also, if it was truly a created being, then it probably doesn't need to eat anyway. So it'll just kill anyone like with as much mercy and quickly as possible. There'll be no digestion or eating at all involved.
Your soul is another matter, but all right. Well, so what I think we see then is go to this pathway down.
Yep.
Stonia prepares themselves to do this ritual, and then should they need assistance, then they will call for aid. We'll assume that you're in the area doing this. Stonia, you are going to enact a ritual. What is it that you want this ritual to do?
Yeah, I think I described it that she's going to try to alter the ritual to change what it protects. Almost, I'm thinking of it like a robot, like changing part of its script, but not all of it, I guess.
You want to change it so it protects.
Yeah, and maybe there is yeah, I think maybe there is a discussion about this, like who should I? And I think she's like, the only one that makes sense. I think Samat, we have to have it protect you, right? That's the only thing that makes sense.
Must it protect me, or could we use my family's banner?
Your family. Actually, if I use your blood, it could protect your bloodline.
But I just get my knife out. How much do you need?
Yeah, and I think I don't know if maybe just as color, like she's like, all right, yeah, lets the blood come out until it. Maybe she's like, just because she's focusing on it, it kind of forms into this like unique rune. It's like, there it is. That's your bloodline's rune. I have enough.
Nice.
All right. I'm proud to be part of this. Stonia, let's have you roll lore. You have a good lore. This should be almost no problem here.
Please tell me you also have advantage.
No, was it the? I did. Okay, I thought I did. It looks like the same exact roll as last time, but I did get a 9. Interesting.
You get a 9. So on a 9, with the enact a ritual, you get to pick one blessing. And there is a bane. Now, the others, just to say, the others could roll to aid you. Like if they're creating a distraction to do this. Now the aid roll is great because it bumps it up one result. However, on a fail, it will drop the result.
Oh, that's fascinating. I love that.
And on a 7 to 9, if they help you, then they would share in consequences, but that's just the bane that you're going to get.
If Liska was to roll aid, would we get fleeting advantage because we are acting on the answer of the Unearthed Forgotten Lore that we did?
What a goob. I love it. Yes, absolutely. That's a good way to do that. Yes.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Awesome. What we think is the appropriate stat here, because I do think that this is the like distracted.
I think this is bravery.
Okay. So that's 0. And that is a 3 and a 5, so that's an 8.
An 8. So you will get this will distract. It will boost it up to a 10 plus. You get to choose 2 blessings, Stonia. And then there'll be a bane.
And we also share in that bane, I think.
Yes, you do.
Perfect.
I mean, This has worked for me before. I don't see why I wouldn't pick the magic is far more powerful than normal. Of course.
Absolutely. And your other one?
Yeah, I guess doing exactly what I desire no more, no less kind of contradicts that.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Okay. So, my only other choice is, actually, I guess if we retroactively said that all that bloodletting gave you a flesh wound, I guess that could heal that.
Yep. So heal a wound that Samat would have marked for that.
Oh, maybe like interestingly, like your like little little
in
cut
the
to your
rune of the
palm just like
family.
heals up. Yeah.
Yeah, but the scar is the family rune that you identified.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
And you want the magic is far more powerful than normal? Tell me, Liska, how is it that you are creating this distraction?
I think this is the we send like a lone horse down this path with a couple of the scouts that are kind of going in parallel down within the mist and inside between these stones, waiting for something, basically using this lone, probably like maybe an old or a lame horse kind of as bait.
And so you will cast this magic, Stonia, and you'll feel it reach out, the rune reach out into the valley and kind of grab a hold of this creature, and then another, and then another, and then another, and then another. And you, even as that is going on, you will see a dozen of these horse-sized flying metal rocks that rise up, and the first couple of them, slam into that horse, and that horse is gone. And then they rise up and begin to circle you like a flock of crows or vultures over a prey. But you will feel them accept that command as they shift and move and begin to circle that banner and begin to circle that mark of Samat. Liska, you will see, you're like, this is amazing. Like your eyes are with this. But you will look down and you see coming up the slope from the valley are horsemen out of the mist, like a great group of horsemen, riders, armored, on horseback, and the mist kind of clings to them. And it takes you a moment to realize that it's not that the mist is clinging to them, it's that these figures are transparent and ghost-like, and they are riding up towards you like something has called them to attack. So let's start with Liska, and then we'll check in with Luvos and Samat. So Liska, what do you do? Because you're the person who sees this. You're the furthest down. You get the immediate eyeballs on this group.
Yeah, I think that Liska is actually out of position, because I think we were expecting one rock, and we were like, okay, we're gonna see one of these things. It's gonna come down, and as it's coming down, we're gonna like start shooting it with our bows and maybe distract it for a little bit. But now there's dozens of these things, and they're flying around, and so we've scattered. We are no longer in position. We are in trying to avoid this, and I might be like caught alone a little farther down the hill than I thought. And so this is the like, oh shit, burn, like spur the moment. I don't even know which way is up the hill, which way is down the hill. Just I'm just booking it away from these things.
Let's have you roll disarm. This is you trying to get yourself out of this dangerous situation.
I need to roll plus bravery, which is a 0. All right. That is a 6.
That is a 6. So after failing the roll as well as you feel like, you can say what a character nearby can do to boost your efforts if you want, but it sounded to me like you were out of position.
Yeah, I think Liska takes whatever whatever consequence happens here.
These armored horsemen ride up and they ride you down. They throw you on the path and you are beneath these ghostly hooves, and you realize they're not leaving any tracks. These must be the things that the birds were going after. And you're going to take 2 wounds, and you feel things give, and you're kind of knocked on the path. You're probably kind of clinging on to the side, trying to keep yourself from falling down into the valley. Luvos, you're kind of nearby, keeping the horses calm, because the horses are freaking out because of these massive metal vulture things that are surrounding. But you look down the path and you see this cadre of ghostly horsemen, and you see Liska go down beneath their hooves. What do you do, Luvos?
Just for flavor, can we say that it's Liska's scream that makes you turn your head?
Perfect.
I mean, if arrows don't work on them, then Lubos doesn't have much to contribute. So we're going to try. We've got these nice bows. May as well give it a try.
Well, this will not work on them, so it's not an appropriate weapon, but I will let you roll disarm to kind of keep yourself and the horses out of the way as you're kind of firing this off. They do, like, when the arrows come at them, they do react, even though they clearly, like, they won't hurt them. But let's have you roll disarm.
Yeah, I mean, it could draw them away from Liska, if nothing else. Okay. So that's a 6.
That is a 6. Then I think that the first rider, that crest that you start firing the arrows, it turns and it throws this spear, and it goes into you. It cuts, like, it doesn't even puncture the clothing, but you feel it cut like ice through the side of you, and you feel it freeze, and you're going to take 2 wounds, and you drop off your horse to the ground and realize that it's kind of pinned you with the sheer force of this ghostly spear. Samat.
Well, this is quite a pickle. Samat sits as high as possible in their saddle, and in their most booming voice, waving the banner of the family, says, "Stop, riders! You ride against your kindred spirits. Stop! We are with you, not against you."
I think this is bravery.
Yep. So, dice roller, that's a +2. +2. D6, D6. I think I did that right. Wow.
Yes.
I did that right.
What'd you roll?
2d6 +2. So I rolled a. Wait, I did that completely wrong. I'm going to remove the modifier. I just roll 2d6. I'm like a complete idiot when it comes to this.
So, well, you rolled a 2 and a 1, and now you rolled a 1 and a 1.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I am reading it right.
Yeah.
At one point, I think I'm reading it wrong, and I look somewhere else. It's like, wait, that can't be right. Yeah. So I rolled a 5. So it was a fail.
Now, this is a case
Yeah.
where you may turn to one of your allies to say, hey, maybe you could help me out.
I do have a pitch for maybe helping you out.
Yeah. I'm going to call for aid.
So the keeper's inherited ability is I can sense spirits are nearby. Guess what they are? And also, if I take a flesh wound, I can communicate with them. So I'm thinking maybe like your voice just couldn't pierce to the spirit world, maybe. And she's like, hold on. And just like, I don't know, does maybe something similar, like lets her blood out and like mingles it with yours. It's like, now they should hopefully be able to hear you if I help out.
Perfect. Mark a flesh wound, and I'll let you roll with lore because that's a good stat for you, right?
Yeah, it is. Let's see.
It seems like a nice payoff for marking the flesh wound.
Hey, I'll take it.
Holy
12.
moly!
Yeah. Wow.
Somebody can roll the dice tonight.
So that will bump it up from a fail to a 7 to 9. Choose one, Samat.
So we're
from
looking
disarm.
at the disarm.
Safety demands a sacrifice. It's only temporary safety, or the danger still present, but threatening someone or something else.
Safety demands a sacrifice.
All right. You see the ghosts kind of standing there, and they can't quite hear. And one of them reaches down, drops off its horse and reaches down and puts its hands on Liska and drags you up, Liska, from the cliffside and points to the horse. This ghostly horse for you to get on it.
And Liska is terrified. She is like wide-eyed, looking between the rider and Samat and Stonia, who I have to imagine is like behind everyone, just like covered in like you've got blood all over your hands, and like I don't know what's going on. I think Liska is probably stubborn and won't do this willingly. I'm okay with this happening a little bit forced.
Yeah, I think that there is the ghost reaches its hands and it lifts you up, and you have some reflexes for getting on a horse. So it almost kind of before you realize it, you are up on horseback. And all that pain and all the coldness and warmth, all of that drains away. And Samat, you'll see another horse come up, and you see this rider gets up on this new horse that appears. And then this figure of Liska, which has become translucent, will walk up, ride up to where you're at. And the band of horse folk, these ghostly warriors, speak with Liska's voice and say, "What is it you want here?"
To defend these lands against those to the south.
We will ask for another sacrifice. You know that.
Your sacrifice will be met.
You say that now. And Liska moves to the front of the forces How else does Liska change, do you think, Sam? Like what is the other transformation that we see? What's the visual change?
I'm muted. I think that Liska's hair, which was up in this very tight bun to fit under the helmet, has like the helmet is basically gone. There's the and her hair is like blowing in a wind that doesn't exist. And whenever you're looking at her, you can't tell if you can like see the skull under her face or if it's just that her skin is so sunken. But it almost looks like her like her skeleton is shining through her skin a little bit.
And they ride forward, and as they ride, you'll see their heraldry, their banners, their markers, which were, kind of fuzzy and all over the place, will sharpen into the banners of the horse lords. And you have a rookery of rocks and a band of ghost horsemen, which will give you surplus defenses.
Lovely.
Let's take 5, and then we'll come back and we'll zoom back out. A rockery, yes, thank you. So when we zoom out, the next house moves that are made by the people who did quick characters there will be done with advantage. And don't forget, David, we still have an advantage sitting around for the keeper's house move as well. So Brian, it felt like maybe you got the least amount to do in that scene. So I'm going to start with you. What is it that is going on right now with our envoys? What is it that they want to be doing? I know we talked about luxuries as a thing.
Yeah, we've had that need for luxuries this whole time. It'd be nice to. We've have not had any success in filling that, and then I guess the other thing would just be like we're supposed to be working against this project.
Mm-hmm.
I think the easiest of the ways to mark the doom track is to leak information, is just good old fashioned just spying and reporting to the enemy. So those are the two things, I guess.
And I'll remind you, you have 2 diamonds that are still on the map.
Yes.
Of possible, if you want to name them as a source of luxury goods, you could do that.
Well, the only one of the diamonds I placed is still unnamed.
No, I think we've got there's 2 question marks down by the Borderlands and the question marks up by the fire pot.
Yeah, the one down by the Borderlands, I don't think I put.
Oh
there.
no,
Somebody
you
else
definitely
must have.
did. Yeah, because you had to put 3 down, and the emerald mines were something that the keepers put on the map.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I see. Okay. Okay, priceless natural resources is what they're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. For example, we could see something like clay that can be made into fine porcelain. We could say rare woods, teak, things like that are less used for sort of purely practical, but are used for luxury furniture and things like that. Those are the kinds of things I can imagine.
I like that. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think the runoff from the burnt pot in the great fire pit leads to this soil where this particular trees grow.
Yeah, and currently that the area is under control of a village that has been using it for more practical goods, but you with your sort of eye can recognize the value of it. So how would you go about working that situation?
Well, I would want to get to know these people and see if I can't learn what it is they need, because I have the move voice of the crowds. When you seek out the troubles of the downtrodden or persecuted. Well, I guess I don't know that this village is downtrodden or persecuted.
It's a small village. I think I'm willing to let that go. And it's a character move.
Yeah.
So what is it like? We'll assume that to survey this, you stop through. What's the one question of those you want answered?
I guess a weakness of the rulers.
So you will stop through and talk. It's a modest village. It's in one of those areas that the woods here are not aren't spread out, aren't spacious, and because they are more rare and odd, they haven't been picked up by a lot of people as places to, you know, as a source of wealth or harvesting. And the thing that will strike you about essentially the headman of this village is how desperately he wants to spite the arbiter. Like, this goes back a ways. Apparently something happened in the early days during the revolution, during the rebellion, and Oksana like took some resources or maybe even recruits from the village, and this headman has in the last 12, 15 years has kept that gnawing at him, and he doesn't have any power to really do anything. But he stubbornly gets in the way of the arbiters, like people, you know, really following through or taxing or things. Does that seem fair?
Yep, sounds good.
So house move wise, there's a couple of ways to do this. There's claim by force, and again, that doesn't have to be military force. You can, use sort of political persuasion and things like that. Or if you're just interested in the resource, there's always subterfuge.
Yeah, I mean, I think subterfuge is usually the way we've gone.
Plays to your strength.
Yeah.
Do you want to try that? And then we'll figure out how you want to roll that out.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So you have advantage. Go ahead and roll with sleight. And certainly all of the bad luck has been gotten out of the dice by this point. Surely.
Okay, but with advantage. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a 9.
9. So how do you think you want to do this? Are you going to try and cause a scandal? Are you going to try and sabotage something? Are you just going to try and make it look less desirable to them?
I don't know that sabotage makes sense. I can't picture that. Scandal. I'm not sure.
Maybe devaluing it so they're willing to sell it to you for a song.
That makes the most sense to me.
So, so you go in, play up on this guy's resentment to the arbiter. You know, you're an outsider. You understand. outside the arbiter's thanks, and essentially offer him money for the rights to the wood, that will provide him that maybe then he can use that to, take some revenge or take some action against the arbiter. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, so it's couched in that I want. Yeah, I'm coming to help him. Well, how can I do that? I can't just.
Right.
I have responsibility. I can't just give it away. Well, what do you have? Well, okay, I guess, yeah.
Oh, yes.
The wood, I guess, we have artisans back home that could at least put it to some kind of use.
Yes. And there's a little bit of coin in hand. That'd be good. I mean, yes. Now on a 7 to 9. Is this done slowly? You're not going to get that luxury until the start of the next season? Or does this guy go out and raise some havoc and raise the turmoil in the land?
I guess we're okay with some turmoil.
Yeah, I think he ends up taking the money, arming some of his people, and the next time that the arbiters people come through for collections and things like that, they drive them off in a kind of a semi-open revolt, and word of that will spread very quickly, and pretty much you don't have to deal with that guy that long after that because he is strung up. But that will definitely create some turmoil in the land. Ooh, look at that. We're at 5 turmoil. Interesting. Let us come then to Kervold and the Kraken.
Yes.
You have advantage. What is the Kraken going to do?
I think the Kraken is trying to. I think this is like the final shoring up of some of these contracts that I've been trying to gather, and the inland business dealings that normally we don't get to see. And so I kind of want to wrap all of that up into one thing, and maybe that's like a surplus of coin or something like that I could later trade for fish or lumber or skins and furs at some other port.
Yeah, let's let me think how that we've got that done. Resist hardship, blah, 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 blah. Well, I think actually, so I think that we see your house pulling those things together. I don't think there's necessarily a role for that. I think we've already got those things set up on there. And so you can bring that. Now, do you have, what's your family's mood right now?
Cordial friendship.
That is your relationship.
Sorry, my mood is -2.
-2. So here is the issue is you can get that surplus coin, but to move it to your places has a logistics element to it. And what that is when your house moves a surplus or collects a dispersed surplus, pick 1 for each point of mood below 0.
Okay.
And that's the 3rd column on the house moves tab.
I like that. I don't know that the first one makes sense because we have boats. I do like it'll take a while because we are kind of scattered at this point, especially with the recent losses. It'll take a little bit to kind of get everybody collected and together.
Yeah.
And then The delivery stalls, the GM says what it'll need to get it moving again.
I think that you will find as you're doing this that there is a new force kind of with some power in the land that you maybe hadn't had to deal with before, and that is the Merchants Guild. That these merchant traders have set themselves up. Before they were very dispersed and unorganized, but now the Compact of the Roads are very much have their fingers in the pot, and what they want is recognition. They want a gesture clearly from the Kraken that says they are equals and worth dealing with.
Suppose if you want your stuff slowly and brought over land.
So what do you want to do? I mean, you could give in, or you could try to disrupt them a little. Subterfuge is always a good way to do that.
Yeah, I think this might be a little bit of subterfuge, less to like mess with their stuff and more figure out what they really want. Because recognition is one thing, but there's always other. Recognition is a means to an end. It's not the end.
So that feels like read the wind.
Okay.
And you have advantage.
Okay. Roll plus reach. My reach. I clicked on the wrong thing. My reach is 1. As a 5 plus 1 is 11.
11. So you're going to get an answer to your question, and you can mark the map with a sign of your answer.
Okay.
I think, how does this sound? I think that one of the reasons they're kind of pushing on this is that the Compact of the Roads have essentially been granted title to a not great coastal settlement. Like they have control over it. And they would like it to be a port. They would like ships to come there, and they would like some assistance in that. And you think that's what they want. And by helping them out there, you think that you could probably gain influence over them and solve this problem that you've got with them.
I love that it's. Can I add something?
Sure, please.
I think it's maybe not necessarily that the faction as a whole is stopping them from doing this, but the locals are all like devout, or they're all part of this cult because of their coastal city, and so the Compact is having a hard time convincing any of the townsfolk to actually do anything.
Yeah, they really need your intervention. Would you do that? Would Kervold go there and speak to them?
I think Kervold would go there and speak to them. Whether or not this ends up in the favor of the Compact is still up in the air. But I think this is at least something Kervold is willing to hear them out on.
Absolutely, and you have some pull there, and I think if someone of your stature, your lore master, they have a great regard for that kind of thing. If you go and ask them to at least work with these merchants, that they it will work for everyone, and that will get your coin moving. And at some point along your travels, you'll be met by the merchant sort of representative, Cancelli, and she will thank you profusely. She gives you gifts, and you can tell that they are grateful to you, and you will get influence over the compact of the roads. Let's come to Stonia. What are the keepers up to?
Yeah, I think they're interested in trying to get these I guess these recruits that possibly in the standing men area
Mm-hmm.
to kind of join their.
And what do you
thing.
think is going to be the tactic of the house? I mean, you talked before about, you know, a call for education, right?
Mhm.
That feels a little subterfugey to me.
Yeah, I could. That makes sense.
So what does that look like when you send your diplomats? And let's ignore the last time you sent diplomats where they got beheaded and sent back to you with their burnt bodies. So let's just set that one aside. So tell me what it looks like when they go to these sort of isolated settlements.
Yeah. Let's see. So I think if I remember correctly, these were kind of like unaffiliated kind of communities.
Yeah.
So
let me ask you this. This is
Mhm.
the one question I'm going to ask you here,
uh-huh.
so that we get a picture of them.
Mhm.
They are of an unusual height. Are they tall? Are they short? Which are they?
Okay. Yeah, I like the idea that they're abnormally tall.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
Quite tall. Like the shortest of them is 6 foot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's even among the men and women.
Yeah, I like that.
So what does this sort of negotiation look like?
Yeah, I think maybe they do try to learn from these past mistakes and try to send people to, I mean, infiltrate's the wrong word, but kind of like join these communities ahead of time for like a few weeks or so.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if I remember correctly, I put this on the map, the Standing Men. I think I said that this was based on like mythology, perhaps these kind of statues that sort of resemble people.
Yeah.
And they're like, these are the remains of the people who originally taught runes to, originally. So maybe that's kind of their, I don't know, they're in. It's like, oh, do you know we're keepers and we do runes now? So we just wanted to look at these ancient statues of people. Maybe you could tell us about them and kind of, through what is it? Socratic method. Am I using that right?
Yeah, yeah.
And tell me more about this. And oh, you think that? And tell me what about this though? And if they did this, then maybe this, to try and become peers of theirs.
Yeah, and this comes over time. Let's have you roll that subterfuge with advantage. Essentially, you're trying to over time persuade them to kind of join with you and then become this surplus for you. So
yeah. Let's see. So that's slight, right?
Yeah.
So 0, but a plus or a advantage on it.
Advantage.
So that still is a 7.
That is a
Just got
7. So is this done slowly, or is this raise a little turmoil?
Let's see. And this was the claim by force thing, or
no, subterfuge.
Oh, right. Oh, hold on a second. I think something special happens when I use subterfuge. Oh, I get to pick an extra action, I think, or an extra option rather.
Oh, okay.
Am I making that up? Hopefully not. Let me find where that is. I only sort of remember. Sorry.
It's not like we have 14 tabs and 2 different character columns. Yeah, when you use subterfuge to hide your involvement.
There.
Yeah, I think so. this is done quietly, like people don't even kind of realize that you are manipulating things, and then you get to pick one other thing.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I guess I'm going to avoid the turmoil.
Okay.
That makes the most sense.
So it'll take a while to get them to join. So after the next time the arbiter does their conference, you'll have that resource to devote.
Perfect. That actually makes a lot of sense, just how we described it too.
Yeah.
You're just infiltrating them for a while.
Tell me, because you are coming to them and kind of showing them what it's like to be part of the empire and things like that, what is the rite or ritual, since you are the ritual masters, that you bring to them?
Like capital R ritual?
Yeah. Not like capital R, like magic, but you are the people that do ceremonies and weddings and officiate things. So one of the things you do is you bring them some kind of service or ceremony or something that kind of represents the new way or your way. What is it that you bring?
Okay. I kind of I don't know why I'm just making this session, but I kind of think that they sort of have a kind of I don't know, obsession, but like kind of focus on bloodlines, maybe because I guess theoretically maybe like the second or seventh children are usually like, go to the keepers, I guess, because we don't want you to inherit or anything.
And we know that curses go through bloodlines.
Right. Yeah. So maybe they kind of introduce a ritual that maybe these folks here weren't observing of, oh, well, you have to use a surname and you have to dedicate each of your children to your own bloodline in these specific ways.
Yeah. And you probably find, reach back to the time when they were part of the tradition, and you show them where this matches up with the ways that they used to do things and the stones and so on. And so you get this group of people. What is the name of these people?
Let's see. I'm tempted to just go really simple and just call them like the tall men or something.
Sure.
Or the standing, not the standing men. That's too redundant. I would go with tall men. Yeah.
Sure. Tall men. Okay. So at the start of the next season, they will be available. There'll be a recruit surplus that you will add to your house. Samat, our horse clans. What is it that you are doing after this fine victory?
Well, so many options. Obviously, we could just deliver the defenses to the arbiter now.
Yeah.
Or
your mood is one, so there's no question of logistics.
That's true. We would get it done.
Yeah.
I think we shall do that before we.
So what does that look like when you deliver these to the southern line?
There was a line of 6 or 8 standard horse riders, and fluttering in the breeze behind them is the whoosh 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 of these mechanical wings, and as the line gets closer to the southern defenses, they can see. Seems like maybe there's just heat rising off in the distance. It's hard to tell because it's shimmering, these other riders, and Samat rides ahead at full gallop to warn them that these are safe. They're here to defend the lands.
Be cool. Be cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't comment on how they look. They take it personally.
Yeah.
And praise all around to the commanders there for the efforts of the keeper of the old runes. And I sing many stories of Liska. Was that Liska? Was that the name?
Yeah.
Sing stories of Liska over the fire that night.
And I think that's the thing is your people who are down here in the South will see Liska at the head of this line of ghost people. And, there will be a chill that will go through them on the one hand, but they also see Liska. And so it is not quite so alien as it might have been.
Yeah. And make it clear that Liska's role in sacrifice has led us to this, to this potential victory for all of us.
And so you can erase that surplus. We put 1 tick on the progress clock. And we will give you a +1 favor with the arbiter. Now, I forgot to do this, but I do need to ask Ziv. Ziv, did you send people out to leak that information?
Yeah.
Okay, then I will put 1 tick on the doom track.
Then I gain 1 trust.
Yes. All right. We're at about 20 till. So I think this is a good place to stop. Just because we'll doing another one round, probably going to a little more. We'll start next time. We'll check in. We can do another holding of court, or we can hold off on that. We'll decide that at the start of the session. And our goal next time, from a meta standpoint, from the GM standpoint, is to push this project forward and see if we can get close to or finish this project next session. It's not terrible if we don't finish it, but just that'll be kind of one of the goals that we'll kind of lean into. Did anybody think that they changed their role for their PCs, or the PCs still pretty much in the role that they were previously in? I just want to check on that.
Remind me again how you change.
How you change role?
How you change roles?
Yeah. Basically, to change a role, basically you look at the trigger for the other role.
Oh, okay. So
and if you think, okay, yeah, I think this is what my character is going to move into, then you make that change, and you get to then do an advance. But we can also check in on that at the beginning of next session, or remind people on that. Does that seem fair?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then if you don't mind, we'll do a quick stars and wishes, especially wishes like these. I've gotten some things on the table, but these are the things that definitely want to move on the next session. Scott, can I start with you?
Yeah, I'm gonna jump to my wish because I just had that on the tip of my tongue.
Oh, good.
So we had these, we find it on the sheet. We have all these kind of undefined aspects here under the arbiter. We have the people of the Red Forest, and didn't think we'd explored that much. Love to see that in action.
Okay.
Obviously, my Samat would love to work on their goal. And my star is for Liska, really, the quick character, being, as almost fulfilling to watch as a full bore character. It's kind of one of the things I loved in Legacy. It's when those quick characters actually become important to the story.
Nice. Sam, stars, wishes?
Yeah, I had a great time. Specific stars, I had a bunch of them, but I want to specifically call out David with the blood runes. That was so good. I really enjoyed that. And the lull with not holding back on Litka. I think you did a great job with making that hurt in a good way, and I really enjoyed that. And then wishes. My two wishes, I specifically put the settlement from the move that I did way up on the north point, right next to the Kraken's Feast Hall, with the hope that we can get that that other cult involved. And also, I was just looking through the other roll moves, and one of my options is that when I protect an enemy of my house, which might come up now that I'm traveling with these merchants.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can have that happen, that would be good.
All right. Excellent. Brian?
Yeah, star, continuing from the blood runes, the moment when the scar from the bloodletting turned into the family rune. That was just perfect. And wishes, yeah, I'm looking at, I would love to switch roles, and I'm looking at like the outsider role, the ambassador. When you disclaim ties to build a greater alliance, say why the larger threat needs everyone to band together to defeat it. The GM says what's distracting your allies from facing the threat. I mean, Ziv would love for everyone to like, no, we don't, there's a bigger threat. We can't go fight this war.
That's an interesting idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I would. So, I mean, there's this Leviathan cult, and then there's also, what is it? What is it? A serpent or a dragon, or?
There is a dragon down in the south that
yeah,
Samad has vowed to defeat.
Yeah, so like one of those. I don't know.
Okay.
It was looking for an excuse to declare that one of those things is a much greater threat. So excellent.
There's also, of course, the big group of beast folk in the Red Woods that are a danger and have been out prodding around. David.
Yeah, my star was that whole especially Scott suggesting like, hey, do you know what would be cool if we zoomed in? And then just that scene turned out so perfectly, just like on all cylinders there. Everything was really cool. And I had been planning to say my wish would be like, oh, it'd be interesting to see more of these NPC factions kind of come in. And then almost right at the end, the merchants kind of got front and center. So I'm like, oh, you know what? You're already fulfilling my wish before I was able to say it. So,
well, that is good, and we've got some other folk to bring on to there. Thank you all so much. I enjoyed that. I'm glad we had a chance to finally kind of do a Zoom and see how that plays out. I like being able to do a Zoom like in an hour, because of course a 3-hour game we got sort of 3 blocks. I like being able to get it in one of the 3 blocks, and that felt really good. And a heroic death, maybe question mark, a heroic death is always an interesting thing to see on screen. So I am going to stop the recording.